You have boundaries with other people. You can say no to a friend. You can set limits with your boss. You protect yourself from others. But you have zero boundaries with yourself. You can't say no to scrolling your phone for 2 hours. You can't set limits with your own anger. You can't protect yourself from your own impulses. And that's destroying you from the inside. Carl Jung discovered why in the 1930s. He found that most people are being controlled by parts of themselves they don't even know exist. He called it identification with the unconscious. And until you understand this, you'll keep being your own worst enemy. The problem: you're controlled by yourself. Let me show you what zero internal boundaries looks like. Scenario 1, the anger problem. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Rage floods your system. For the next 30 minutes, you're consumed by anger. Not because you chose to be angry, but because you have no boundary with your anger. The anger controls you. You are the anger. No separation. Scenario 2, the impulse problem. You tell yourself, just 5 minutes on Instagram. 2 hours later, you're still scrolling. You had no boundary with the impulse. It took over. You disappeared. Scenario 3, the self-talk problem. You make a mistake at work. Your inner voice starts. You're so stupid. You always mess up. Everyone thinks you're incompetent. You believe every word. Why? Because you have no boundary with that voice. You think it is you. Here's what all three have in common. You're not directing these parts of yourself. They're directing you. And you're calling it who I am. But Jung said something radical. These aren't you. They're parts of you. And you need boundaries with them. The mistake. You think boundaries means suppression. Here's the mistake everyone makes with internal boundaries. You think setting a boundary with anger means don't be angry. You think setting a boundary with impulses means have willpower. You think setting a boundary with your inner critic means think positive. That's not a boundary. That's suppression. And Jung was clear. What you suppress doesn't disappear. It controls you from the unconscious. Let me explain the difference. Suppression versus boundary. Suppression doesn't work. Anger arises. I shouldn't be angry. Push it down. It explodes later. Impulse arises. I should have more discipline. Fight it. It wins when you're tired. Critic speaks. I should be more positive. Ignore it. It gets louder. Boundary. What Jung taught. Anger arises. I notice anger is here. Acknowledge it without becoming it. It passes. Impulse arises. I see the urge to scroll. Create space before acting. Conscious choice. Critic speaks. That's the critic talking. Recognize it's not you. Extract useful info. Reject abuse. The difference. Suppression fights. Boundaries create space. Jung called this making the unconscious conscious. When you can see a part of yourself, you're no longer possessed by it. It's not me. Jung's framework, the parts you don't see. Jung said your psyche isn't one thing. It's made up of parts. Most of them you're not aware of. Part 1. The shadow. This is everything you've repressed or denied about yourself. Example, you were taught good people don't get angry, so you pushed anger into the shadow. But it didn't disappear. It controls you unconsciously. You snap at people. You have rage episodes. You hold grudges. All because you have no conscious boundary with anger. It's in the shadow, running wild. Jung's solution? Bring it into consciousness. Not to get rid of it, but to set a boundary with it. I have anger. Anger doesn't have me. Part 2. Complexes. Jung described complexes as autonomous parts of your psyche that act independently. You know that feeling when you say, "I don't know what came over me"? That's a complex taking control. The scrolling complex. Boredom? Hand reaches for phone, you disappear into scrolling. Automatic. No boundary. The eating complex. Stress? Reach for food? Eat when not hungry. Autopilot. No consciousness. The procrastination complex. Task gets hard? Escape urge. YouTube, Reddit. Pattern activated. No choice. These complexes run because you have no boundary with them. You don't even see them until after they've taken over. Part 3. The Inner Critic. Jung called this the negative animus in women, or the negative anima in men. Most people just call it the inner critic. It's the voice that says, "You're not good enough. Everyone's judging you. You always mess up. You're a fraud." The mistake people make is they think this voice is their thinking. It's not. It's a voice you've internalized, probably from childhood, probably from someone who criticized you. You need a boundary with it, not suppression, like think positive, but consciousness. That's the critic speaking. Step 3, personify the parts, Jung's technique. This sounds strange, but Jung insisted on it. Give the parts names. Talk to them as if they're separate. The anger, call it the fire, or red, or whatever fits. When it arises, "Fire is here. What are you trying to tell me?" Often, anger has information. This person crossed a boundary, or this situation is unjust. Take the information. Set the boundary with the emotion. The impulse, call it the escape artist. When you feel the urge to scroll, escape artist wants to run. What am I actually trying to avoid right now? Often you're avoiding discomfort. Name it. Face it. The impulse loses power. The critic, call it the judge. When it speaks, the judge is saying, "I'm not good enough. Is there useful feedback here or just abuse?" Extract useful feedback, like, "I could be more thorough." Reject the abuse, like, "I'm worthless." The judge gets quieter when you stop believing everything it says. Step 4. Set the actual boundary. With anger, "I feel the anger. It's valid, and I'm choosing to respond in 10 minutes, not right now." That's a boundary, not suppression, pretending you're not angry, not identification, becoming the anger. Consciousness plus space plus choice. With impulses, "I feel the urge to scroll. I'm going to delay acting on it for 5 minutes." Not fighting it, like, "I should have more willpower." Not giving in immediately, creating space for conscious choice. With the critic, the judge is talking. "I'm taking the feedback about being more careful. I'm rejecting the message that I'm incompetent." Not suppressing, like, think positive. Not believing completely, sorting signal from noise. What changes when you have internal boundaries? Jung described the result of internal boundaries as individuation, becoming whole. Here's what that looks like practically. You stop being fragmented. Before internal boundaries, you're at war with yourself. Anger pulls you one way, impulse another. Critic beats you down. You're exhausted from internal conflict. After internal boundaries, the parts are still there, but you're directing them, not being directed. You're whole, not fragmented. You have more energy. Before, constant internal battle drains energy. Fighting impulses, suppressing anger, defending against the critic. After, you're not fighting anymore. You're acknowledging, setting boundaries, integrating. Energy is freed up for actual life. You make better decisions. Before, decisions are made by whichever part is loudest. Anger decides in the moment. Impulse decides when you're tired. Fear decides when critic is loud. After, you decide. Conscious choice, taking input from the parts, but not being controlled by any single one. Emotions don't last as long. Before, anger controls you for 30 to 60 minutes. Anxiety spirals for hours. Sadness becomes depression that lasts days. After, emotions arise, peak, usually 90 seconds, and pass. Why? Because you're not suppressing them, which makes them last, or identifying with them, which amplifies them. You're acknowledging with boundary, this is here, it will pass. I'm not this. The parts become allies, not enemies. Jung's ultimate insight: when you set boundaries with these parts instead of fighting them, they transform. Anger becomes your advocate for justice. Impulses point you toward what you actually need. The critic, when boundaried, becomes discernment instead of abuse. You become whole, not by eliminating parts, but by integrating them under conscious direction. The practice, starting today. Here's what to do immediately. Pick one internal part you need boundaries with. Anger that controls you, impulse you can't resist, scrolling, eating, etc. Inner critic that's brutal. For the next 7 days, practice Jung's method. Name it. I'm noticing blank, anger, urge, critic. Don't suppress, don't become. This is here, it's not all of me. Wait 90 seconds. Most emotions peak and pass in this time. Extract wisdom, set boundary. What's useful here? What do I reject? Watch what happens. You won't overcome the part, you'll integrate it. And integration is so much more powerful than elimination. Jung spent his entire career studying this. He found that the people who tried to eliminate parts of themselves became fragmented. The people who integrated parts became whole. You're not broken, you're not weak, you don't lack discipline. You lack internal boundaries, and now you know how to create them. This week, practice setting one internal boundary. When anger arises, I notice anger. It's here. It's not me. I'm choosing my response. When impulse shows up, I'm seeing the urge. I'm waiting 90 seconds before acting. When critic speaks, that's the judge. I'm taking feedback, rejecting abuse. Subscribe to School of Philosophy for more psychology and philosophy applied to real problems. We explore Jung, Stoicism, Sartre, not as theory, but as tools. Comment below. Which part of yourself do you need boundaries with most? You're not controlled by yourself. You just don't have boundaries yet. Now you do.